Present, attending from Harper Woods.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Present and attending from my home in Harper Woods.
Councilwoman Williams.
Present, attending virtually from my home in Harper Woods.
Councilman Toussaint. Anyone see Councilman Toussaint?
He has not logged in yet.
Okay.
He emailed me just a few moments ago, so I'll see if I can text him.
Okay. Acting City Manager Szymanski.
Present.
And City Attorney Diwali.
Here.
Okay.
Okay, I need approval of minutes. I need a motion for the approval of the minutes from the regular city council meeting, library board, election coordinating committee, the local officers compensation commission, and the planning commission.
Madam Mayor?
Madam Mayor,
Councilwoman Sawicki,
Yes, I'll offer to receive, approve, and file our regular city council meeting held February 17th, 2021. To receive and file the library board meeting held January 21st, 2021. To receive and file the election coordinating committee meeting held February 22nd, 2021. To receive and file the local officers compensation commission meeting held February 24th, 2021, and to receive and file the planning commission meeting held February 24th, 2021.
Support.
I'm sorry, John, I accidentally muted your computer. Normally it says city offices. I saw the name and I just muted it. Sorry.
No problem.
Madam
okay.
Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Sawicki.
I have a question concerning the Planning Commission minutes. In the minutes, they indicate that the 2020 annual report and the 2021 work plan for the Planning Commission is supposed to be forwarded to City Council as attachment number 1, but it was not attached.
Oh, my apologies. I'll make sure it's on the next council meeting.
Thank you very much.
Are there any
Madam
further
Mayor?
discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Pies.
I have a question regarding the minutes for the election coordinating with the school district. Could that be explained to me?
Would that be,
Would that be explained to me, please? I don't understand why the election committee is coordinating with the school district.
oh, okay.
City clerk. City clerk.
The city clerk, Mrs. Franks, can you explain that to
Yes.
Councilwoman
Yes.
Pies?
So we are required by the state of Michigan to coordinate with the different school boards for the various elections. We also have an agreement with Wayne Risa, with the Grosse Pointe School District, with Wayne County Community College District, and basically it's an agreement that shares what responsibilities different members of those groups have to do in an election. For example, in the Grosse Pointe School District, we share duties with the other Grosse Pointes as they have a vested interest in the outcome of those elections. So we coordinate efforts. One community will accept the petitions for school board candidates. Another community will post all the notices or create the notices, those kinds of things. We have to do the same thing with the Harper Woods School District, and basically for their agreement, the city clerk of the city of Harper Woods handles every aspect of their elections for them. And that's basically all that agreement says.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Madam Mayor, Councilwoman Constantino has her hand electronically raised.
Councilwoman Constantino?
Yes, just for the record, for the residents who are attending virtually, the local officers compensation board has decided to keep our salaries the same as they have been in the past. There has been no raise for city council members or mayor.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of this motion?
Aye.
I'm sorry, of the approval of the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
So motion carries. Has Mr. Toussaint got in on the call yet?
Yes, I was trying to get into the wrong meeting. I'm sorry. I'm here.
Okay, I just want to know before we go further, if we have to excuse you or not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're now for public comments on the agenda item. Are there any persons that need to respond for any agenda items? Bob, do you see anyone with their hand up?
Madam Mayor, I see no one unmuting or raising their hand at this time.
Okay. All right, then let's move on to E, consent agenda. I need a resolution.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Constantino?
I'll offer the resolution to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 3.
Okay. Support,
Support.
oh, okay. Support by you, Councilwoman Pies. Okay, is there any discussion? Councilwoman Sawicki?
I didn't realize I was muted. I'm sorry. I have a question, and that is regarding the outcome of, I'm trying to find this, the GLWA, lead and copper testing, which was mandated by the state of Michigan, that we're paying for the testing tonight. Out of the 229 samples that were taken, what was the result in Harper Woods?
Bill, would you like to make a few comments on that? Schneider, unmute, please.
Yes, of those sampling locations, none of them came back in violation. What precipitated this additional sampling at 60 locations twice during the year was one result that came back above the action level of 15 parts per billion. And what that does is triggers additional testing. So Great Lakes Water Authority provides that testing for us.
I'm glad to hear, because I know that some communities near us have to go through all kind of mitigation for high levels, including replacing pipes and all of this kind of stuff. So it's a good thing to hear that our committee is free of that kind of horror.
Well, you know what, to that end, also the homeowners are given a written letter with the results too. That's part of the follow-up and the diligence of this, is when they agree and participate to allow this sampling and take the samples, then they're provided with the results also.
Thank you.
Yes.
Madam Chair?
Mr. Toussaint, Councilman Toussaint?
Yes, I didn't know we were bringing this up at this time. I thought it'd been later on in the agenda, but I also want to know the results too. And when is the next time we have to do a sampling? Is this something we do monthly? Is this something we do annually? Is something we do?
Bill, can you answer that?
Yep, as far as the lead and copper sampling goes, because the numbers came back below the action level this time, we might resume sampling at what they call a reduced monitoring level. So we're not going to be required to take as many samples going forward in 2021.
Okay, so again, when we have to take it, is this monthly or the next time, when's the next time we may have to do it? Or is it going to be a full one or a partial one or?
Well, the window of opportunity and the timeline is spelled out for us through Eagle. And the first round of sampling has to be done between January and July. And then the second round of sampling has to be between July and December. So it'll be twice a year.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Williams.
Yes, I just had another question on, it's still on the sampling. This time around when they took the samples, was it from the same group, same homes that they did last time, or was this a whole different randomly chosen group?
No, this is the part of the requirement is that you sample from the same locations if you can get those residents to agree to participate. And they're referred to as tier 1 customers, which are a residential home. And you have to identify homes with lead service lines for this sampling. While it is a lead and copper sampling, if you can't find a number of lead service line homes to sample from, then you can, with justification, use copper. But they do test for parts per billion of both copper and lead.
Okay, so it's the same homes that was involved in our last study.
Yes, you know what, even with the homes where we had started a lead service line change out program, we replaced lead service lines at 7 homes last year. They will still be sampled this year to follow up with results. And what that may identify is that if the homeowner has lead in some of their specific plumbing hardware, for example, their faucets, or even if they have copper plumbing in their house, back in the day before the rules changed, the lead and copper rules changed, there was a certain percentage of the solder that was used to join the copper pipes together that had a percentage of lead in them. But to that end, they're all given notification as to what the results are, and they're given information on how to remediate or reduce their exposure to lead through letting the tap water run, or they can purchase filters or other things. But hopefully that answered your question.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Snyder.
Yes.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Mrs. Franks?
Mayor Pro Tem Costantino.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Toussaint.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Seeing there's no old business, we'll move on to new business, city manager report.
Item G1, Madam Mayor and City Council, attached is a proposal from our city engineers to provide design and engineering services for the second phase of Beaconsfield resurfacing project from Woodland to Vernier. This phase will likely begin in 2022 after the portion from Kingsville to Woodland is completed later this year. As described in the proposal, the estimated engineering costs are as follows. Environment clearance documents, $5,000. Design, plans, specification, and contract bid award, $83,116. Construction, engineering, administration, and inspection, $173,158. Testing lab services, $20,779. These costs are included in the city's estimated total of $533,479 I have reviewed this, and it is my recommendation that this proposal be accepted.
Madam Mayor,
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Lyons.
I'd like to make the resolution to approve the engineering proposal dated February 3rd, 2021, submitted by AEW to undertake the design and engineering portion of the FW 2022 Beaconsfield resurfacing Woodland Tavernier project and further to authorize the city manager to sign the agreement on behalf of the city.
Councilwoman Pies, are you seconding it or is this,
I will support.
okay? Is there any further discussion? Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Sawicki?
slightly different, but I know that this project, the Woodland to Vernier project, I thought it was part 2, that the Kingsville to Woodland was going to happen first. And if that is the case, do we know when ground is going to be broken for the Kingsville to Woodland plan? Part of
Yes, Councilmember Sawicki. The Kingsville to Woodland project is going to happen this year. Once we get through the snow and ice control season, probably sometime April, early May. And this is just to have everything in place for the second phase, which is going to happen in 2022.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, Councilman Toussaint?
Yes, this phase is this. I mean, I've been hearing about this for quite a few years. Will we be using the same people to kind of give us a plan on what we're going to do for the next streets next project on improving our streets?
Well, is this another question, or is this in regards to like Beaconsfield? These are the same engineers that we do use, yes, for our street plans.
Will they be the same ones that'll help you to create a plan for the next phase of improving the roads?
Yes, yes, yes.
And you have any idea when that will be considered?
We're talking about certain things as we speak now on future projects.
Okay, do you think you'll be able to give us an update around June, July?
Well, you know, when we go into the next budget talks, you know, that would be a prime time to sit down with the whole entire city council and map out a strategy. And that would be occurring sometime in the summer. I want to say late summer.
I look forward to it.
Madam Mayor,
I didn't, who's that?
Madam Mayor.
Oh, yes. Okay, Councilwoman Lyons.
I have a question. I know that this isn't probably something that, you know, AEW does, but is there a possibility of having maybe some sort of a public, you know, way to show, you know, everybody where the phases are and what the timeline is for this project? Because we know that Beaconsfield is due to be resurfaced, and, you know, just to be able to let folks know and anticipate, you know, any potential hangups or, you know, disruptions we might have for, you know, driving down a certain section of the city, and, you know, just kind of have it broken down so that we know what to anticipate when. And maybe that could be a conversation with, you know, this surveying firm or just the city manager and the public.
Yeah, we're working with them to come up with some maps that we can put on the website or some kind of guidance so that people can plan their traffic routes. I want to say family get-togethers, because there's going to be a lot of congestion. We know that. There's going to be a lot of work being done, not only on Beaconsfield, but in the parks as well. So we are looking to making that transition as easy as possible, and having something that the people can look at to kind of keep them in the loop as to what to expect on any given day.
Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Sawicki.
I know that when we have done road work in the past, including Beaconsfield, quite a few years ago, and Tyrone. It was very important to make certain that we keep the school also in the loop, especially if our kids are going to be going back to school live in the fall. So if we can get that work, that portion of the roadway taken care of before the kids start, in the late August, I think that would really be wonderful.
Yes, that's the plan.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
All right, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Mrs. Franks?
Councilwoman Lyons,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki,
Yes.
Councilman Toussaint,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes,
Mayor Kindle,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Costantino.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G2, intergovernmental agreement, public safety training. Madam Mayor and Council, attached is a memorandum from the Public Safety Director requesting authorization to enter into an intergovernmental public safety training agreement with our mutual aid partners, Grosse Pointe City, Grosse Pointe Farms, Grosse Pointe Shores, Grosse Pointe Park, and Grosse Pointe Woods. This agreement will allow all public safety departments included in this agreement to train together and assist with training of all officers. As he states in his memo, any cost incurred with training, equipment, or use of the facility will be shared equally. I have reviewed this with him, and I concur with his recommendation that we enter into this agreement.
Madam Mayor?
Madam Mayor,
Councilwoman Williams?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to offer the resolution to approve the intergovernmental agreement between the City of Harper Woods and Grosse Pointe City, Grosse Pointe Farms, Grosse Pointe Shores, Grosse Pointe Park, and Grosse Pointe Woods to provide for public safety training with all members of the above named public safety departments, and further to authorize the acting city manager to sign the agreement on behalf of the city.
Support.
Support.
Okay, discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yeah,
Madam Mayor?
Councilwoman Sawicki?
Thank you. First of all, I want to say how pleased I am to see that our public safety department is going to be joining in this intergovernmental training opportunity. And I'm hopeful that it'll lead to more and more things that we're able to do with our neighboring communities, because it's good to have backup. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Toussaint.
I have to totally agree with Councilwoman Sawicki. I think it's a fantastic idea to be able to share ideas between the points and Harper Woods. I think it's only going to help to make each point and us an even better police force or public safety office, public safety department. I think it's a fantastic. I'm looking forward to the success of it.
Okay, any further discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Lyons?
I also have to echo the sentiments of my colleagues, and I think that this is wonderful to see, this initiative and just this fostering deeper ties and with regard to mutual aid. I think that can just only serve to make public safety departments in this area stronger and more united, and we're on the same page across the board. But possibly if I could get a little bit of background information from if Chief Smith could shed a little light on the history of some of these mutual aid initiatives and how long these kind of programs have been around.
Steve, would you care to comment, please?
Hey, good evening, Council and Mayor. Actually, this is courtesy of Grosse Pointe City. They just got a brand new building, and they have a training tower there. It's about 3 stories. It's a simulator for fire training. And then they also have state-of-the-art use of force simulator that we usually rent yearly in our department, but now, we'll use it and share the cost with them. So we wouldn't have this opportunity otherwise if it wasn't for Grosse Pointe City getting this together.
Thank you, sir.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Mrs. Franks?
Councilwoman Pies,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki,
Yes.
Councilman Toussaint,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
yes,
Mayor Kindle,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Costantino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G3, audit proposal, Plant and Moran. Attached is a memorandum from the acting finance director regarding a proposal from Plant Moran for auditing services. As her memo states, the proposal for services has remained the same as in previous years, and their proposed rate for the 2020 audit is consistent with previous years, with the understanding there may be additional costs relative to the coronavirus pandemic, valuations for pension and OPEB, land bank transactions, water fund analysis, and others. I concur with her recommendation that we continue with Plant Moran as the city's auditor.
Madam Mayor,
Councilwoman Pies?
I'll offer the resolution to accept the proposal dated February 22nd, 2021, submitted by Plant and Moran for auditing services in the amount of $44,600 for the 2020 audit.
I support.
Support by Mr. Toussaint. Councilman Toussaint,
Yes.
is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Sawicki?
I'd like the city manager to give us some idea of what additional costs might be. You've named a number of items that could cost us a little more. And is there any ballpark that you have for what kind of costs we might incur?
One cost that I see in this 2020 audit is everything that concerns COVID-19 funding and intergovernmental grants that we received. We received monies. I can see auditors coming in and making sure that we spent those funds in accordance with the terms and conditions set out by the federal government or the state government regarding COVID-19. That could cover anything from hand sanitizers to masks to all the work that was done updating city offices to be COVID-19 compliant, the plexiglass screens, et cetera, et cetera. There's lots of things, even in the way of testing, employees that had to quarantine during periods when they might have been exposed to the virus. We were given funding for that, and we have to account for it in the way that the federal or state governments provide for. I see that being, a big audit item. I see, again, our valuations for pension and OPEB, coming out every year. This is a very big legacy cost with cities such as ours. And there's an enormous amount of accounting and analysis that goes into these disclosures. And now we are required to get actuarial valuations every 3 years, just to make sure that the pension fundings and the legacy costs are being handled in a proper manner. People are living longer, And we have to account for those things and cost out for those things. So yes, I do see those as being additional items. Don't know to what extent we're going, don't know to what extent those reports are going to do a deep dive. So you're muted.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what the cost is going to be? I mean, going to double the cost? Is it going to be 10%? You know, any idea at all, or anticipating what the additional costs might run us? And I do want to mention that the life expectancy has gone down a year due to the pandemic.
Well, you know, and again, you know, all those things are really going to factor in. It's, I know we're going to be required to get an actuarial evaluation. That normally is about $15,000 all by itself. I want to say that if there's any special journal entries or compliance measures that we have to take, you know, above and beyond what we've already done. Again, you know, auditors, they don't work cheap. I'll put it that way. If they have to publish an additional report for the state or the federal government, that takes time and effort on their side. You could probably say, it would be safe to say that at least half the cost of this audit, there's probably going to be some sort of extras.
And the city is prepared for that amount, I assume.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any further discussion? I don't see any hands. Okay, roll call vote. Mrs. Franks?
Councilwoman Sawicki,
Yes.
Councilman Toussaint,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Kindle,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Costantino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, moving along to item G4, progress payments number 10-2018, SAW grant, storm sewer CCTV investigation number 180-202. Madam Mayor and City Council, attached is a letter from our city engineers transmitting progress payment number 10, final, on the 2018 SAW grant, storm sewer CCTV investigation project number 180-202. It is recommended that this payment be approved.
I need a resolution.
Madam Mayor,
Councilwoman Lyons.
I'll make the resolution to approve the payment to Deutsche Industrial Services, Inc. in the amount of $62,488.75 for progress payment number 10, final, on the 2018 SAW grant storm sewer CCTV investigation project number 180-202.
Support.
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Sawicki.
Madam Mayor?
Yes. Yes, in discussion.
If I recall correctly, once we had the investigation and the storm sewer CCTV work done, then we would be required to make any corrections, if I'm recalling this correctly, any adjustments or improvements. Is that accurate? Are we now going into some phase 2 where we will need to do some work on our sewer systems?
Well, what happens is they tell us what has been filmed down there, and we will do anything from lead clearing, cleaning sewers, extra heavy cleaning on storm sewers. We will put the TVs, through any piping or basins that we feel may need repair. We remove mineral deposits and and see where our water is going. And if Bill Schneider would like to make a few comments, he probably could articulate much better and in a more accurate detail. Bill, you want to give us a couple of comments here?
Yeah, thank you, and I'll be brief. To answer your original question, this was a grant that we received in 2018. We applied for it in 2017. We received the grant in 2018, and it was just a little bit under $1 million, around 900,000. But there were no strings attached to this, and by that I mean, if something was revealed through the cleaning and televising of storm sewers, we were not obligated to repair these as mandated by the state. That's a little bit different than the sanitary. The sanitary, once we discovered some deficiencies, then we had to have a timeline and a funding mechanism put in place for taking corrective action. And with the sanitary, we did that. With this is a little bit different. This is to make progress, and presently we've addressed 11 emergency areas last year that were areas where the boulevard or the roads were in jeopardy of collapsing, which was revealed through this televising of the underground storm sewers. To that end, those have been addressed. My most recent conversation with our engineers is we will be taking a look at the next phase, which is listed as critical or to a higher priority. And we've identified about 16 locations, and we will prioritize those. And part of that will go into the budget discussion with the city manager and council as to the cost. And right now we're working on assigning a cost factor to those repairs. But yes, this was a no strings attached. And Councilwoman Sawicki, I am glad, quite frankly, that there will be no more progress payments forthcoming. This is the final one. And it was such a useful tool to identify the underground that we have here in the city. So what that has given us is a roadmap going forward to make repairs and prevent road collapses and washouts.
Thank you.
And
Is
that
there
was
any
also,
further discussion?
excuse me, that was also paid for out of the grant. This is grant money that we're exhausting.
Okay. Thank you,
Madam Chair?
Mr. Snyder.
I think there was somebody else.
Is there someone else for discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Lyons.
I just wanted to ask a question around just when we are receiving, the stormwater asset management watershed sort of grant, and our payments, these progress payments are actually going to the firm that kind of handles the execution of the grant. Is that what this is, the Deutsche Industrial Services kind of, why we would need to pay them? Because I think maybe it could be a little confusing for like maybe other folks out there when you see that this is a grant, but then also we're making these payments. So just for a little bit of clarity on that particular breakdown.
Yes, we receive the grant monies for a very specific type need that the city has in regards to its storm sewer system. And what happens is there is a drawdown by the company, work performed by Deutsche or whomever, but our city engineers are monitoring this entire process to make sure that all the work that we're paying for is actually done.
Right.
So they're actually taking a picture through all of our infrastructure beneath the streets. They're putting it into a map of, I want to say, things that need to be repaired immediately, or deposits they find, or breaks in the line that they may find, and they will notify us. We will authorize the repairs, do the repairs, and use the grant money for that purpose.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilman Toussaint,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Kindle,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Costantino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, Madam Mayor, City
Madam Chair.
Council.
Madam Chair, one question I have, I think I may have missed something here. What the, there's, it's WCA assessment services for March 2021 for $5,000 a month, $5,300 a month. Have we discussed that before I came on? Because I'm trying to figure out what that is.
That was in the consent agenda, which we voted on a couple of minutes ago. I mean, a little while ago. That was a part of the consent agenda. And we can discuss that as soon as we get there with this part, if you need to have some clarification on that.
I would please love to. Thank you.
Okay. Item G5, designation of street administrator. Madam Mayor, City Council, in the absence of City Manager Raker, we have determined that it is necessary to designate someone in his place in order for the city to receive the State of Michigan Act 51 street funds. Attached is a resolution for this designation. I recommend that it be adopted and that the acting city manager be the street administrator.
Madam Mayor,
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Sawicki.
I'll offer the resolution to adopt the resolution to designate the acting city manager, John Szymanski, as the street administrator for the city of Harper Woods.
support.
Support by Councilwoman Pies. Discussion.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Lyons.
So I have a few questions around, the history of this role under City Manager Raker and now under Acting City Manager John Szymanski. This does seem that it's a lot of responsibility for one person, and I know that maybe under Randy Skotarchak there may have been more assistants having a deputy city manager, but it does seem that the responsibility of like improvement, maintenance, traffic operations, is this just a symbolic role, or is this something actually needing to be done? Because, in addition to the responsibilities of managing the day-to-day for the city, it just seems like a lot for one person to also be, doing in addition to, this job.
Okay, this is a role that's required by the Michigan Department of Transportation Financial Operations. Just to give you a little bit of background, I do prepare all the Act 51 funding on behalf of the city. I know what goes into those reports. I do all the ADARS reporting. Through our engineering firms, we upload the state of Michigan with all our maps, projects, completed and going forward, and the state requires that a single administrator be designated by the governing body to be the responsible person when they have any questions regarding this. And what they do is they do put strings attached to this, that if we don't have a street administrator, then they will not send us Act 51 monies to fix our roads. That's a state requirement, that's a state law. This is a must-have. So, and it's always been the city manager that has been the street administrator. And again, we don't want to jeopardize any funding, where we just want to keep things going in a positive direction.
Question.
Councilman Toussaint.
From what I look at, Councilwoman Lyons, is that we really don't have much choice if we want to get that funding. but I do understand your concern about all this responsibility on Mr. Mr. Samansky, and that maybe the thought of a deputy mayor, maybe a deputy
City manager.
may be considered. Thought about.
We just had
Yeah,
we
we're,
never had a deputy before, so.
Yeah, this is a required, this is a required position here. And again, we wouldn't want to have any interruption in Act 51 funding. For us not to have a street administrator would be a signal to the state of Michigan that something is wrong in the city. Not saying that I have all this tremendous power. It's just they need somebody to blame, so to speak, or just to answer the questions that they have regarding the funding.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Sawicki.
if it helps, I know that the street administrator, being the city manager, has been a long time and normal function of the city manager, that that person, and we've gone through a number of city managers in the last 10 years or so, but that person knows the ins and outs of how the community is operating. So for them to be designated as the contact person for the Michigan Department of Transportation, it would not be unusual, and it's not an extraordinary amount of work beyond what the city manager is ordinarily doing. I think that even though it sounds a lot, they are the person that's on top of most of this anyway. So it would seem a very natural position for the city manager to take on. Just my thought.
Any further discussion?
I understand. I agree with you, Councilwoman Sawicki, that I'm sure that is a natural position for the city manager. I'm just saying that the same street person may also be involved in the planning of the streets down the line. So I was just wondering if, as Councilwoman Lyons was saying, maybe we need to give John some help. He's trying to do it all.
I can handle it. I can handle it.
All right, is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks, please.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Kindle,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Costantino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki,
Yes.
Councilman Toussaint.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Just a point of thought from Councilman Toussaint. We'll go back and give some clarification for the WCA assessment.
Okay, that, Madam Mayor and Councilmember Toussaint, this is a reoccurring payment that we pay monthly for contracted services for our assessing department. We actually have an assessor come in and reevaluate all the parcels every year according to the state administration and the state government guidelines. She does a wonderful job. Her company does a wonderful job. We are provided with lots of insights into our property, into our development proposals. I want to say we're updated on laws that may be applicable to our city, to parcels within our city. And again, this all has to do with sustaining the taxable valuation of our property in the community. And that's very important because the taxation of our property is the basis for our finances for city government. So she works hand in hand with our treasury. She works hand in hand with our building department, does an excellent job. And this is just a reoccurring monthly payment that we pay to WCA assessing.
Okay, I was just wondering, but we're assessing what? And thanks for that explanation. Just want to get a
Okay.
clarification what it's about. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, call the audience, please. Bob, would you let me know who, if anyone has their hand up?
Yes, I see a hand raised by Rhonda W. If you'd like to speak.
Yeah, good morning, Mayor and council people. First of all, I have one statement and two questions. I want to first, when I spoke at the last council meeting, make sure that I thank DPW because I do think that they did an amazing job. I didn't say that when I asked the question last week. But my first question is there anything that we're beginning to put in place? Because I've been watching the court cases lately for the city of Harper Woods, and I'm noticing a lot of evictions. So I'm concerned with, because of COVID, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are, you know, the date is up where they can start being evicted. Is it anything that we're watching out for as a city? Because there is a lot of renters here. So is it anything that we're looking at or that you guys may be looking at to, I guess I'm trying to act like if it's something that we're going to pay attention to, how many homes are left vacant after they can start being evicted after the 31st?
Okay, that's a very complicated question that you've asked. And I want to say that those foreclosures, eviction notices are being tracked constantly. I want to say that they're handled through our court system. And again, you know, this is something that our district court judge handles on a daily basis. And to maybe further articulate an answer to your question, I'm going to ask our city attorney, Sharon Dwally. Sharon, are you still on the meeting call?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Could you please comment further on
Well,
her
I
question?
can comment on the status of the court matters, which is quite frankly being determined by state law and what the state of Michigan is permitting the courts to do. Right now, a lot of the landlords, if they're having issues or tenants, are merely following a process that they have to go through, but actually no actions being taken at this time. What happens after that? I don't know right now what other actions the state might take in giving perhaps some sort of grace period to the tenants. That I don't know. But as of this point, all actions are governed by the state of Michigan. Landlords, tenants are merely going through the process to get it on record, and that's it. That's all we have at this point. Nobody's being officially evicted unless there's a matter of danger or threat to public health.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Well, I guess, I mean, I understand that. It didn't really answer my question because I was trying to see if we can be proactive. Because when that is lifted, you know, there's going to be a lot of vacant properties. And with the vacant properties, we're going to be looking at vandalism, other things people may resort to if they're being evicted. So that's a great concern being a new homeowner, you know, with my property value, where will it go? And I've noticed I have more renters on my block than I have homeowners, which I'm a little bit disappointed in. But nevertheless, my second question is regarding my question I asked last week when it was brought up that we don't have an enforcement officer. Is there any way that we can look at maybe volunteers or being trained by our public safety, where they can go out and at least even issue a citation or issue warnings so that we can get some on board with these people who are violating the ordinance of the cities?
What actually is taking place, we do have a building department that does issue citations. We do have police officers that assist in citing violations. But what has happened now, especially with this last year, is because of this COVID epidemic, what will happen is you may have somebody that has an ordinance violation, but they may not allow a contractor into their house because of COVID. There may be other concerns regarding COVID. This is a challenge for the city. This affects the way people pay their water bills. It affects the way they take care of their property. We are going to step up the enforcement in the city, but again, you know, we're looking at state guidance. We don't want to be known as a cruel city, but at the same time, you know, we do have standards, you know, that we're going to adhere to. And yes, this is something that's being monitored constantly. And this springtime, we're going to be looking for violations again, and writing tickets and doing all the enforcement actions, you know, that we can do. But again, we would like to have the people comply on their own free will, you know, in that process. So we're rolling out a process. Again, we're being very mindful of the COVID epidemic, and people are, they're slow to come around, but we are going to be stepping up the enforcement in that area. You know, it's just, this is a situation that all cities are facing right now. In the springtime, we'll see what happens. And again, we realize that we have some problems with this, and we're trying to get our arms around them at the same time.
And John, this is Bill from the W. You know, if I could just chime in too, and you're so right that code enforcement is paramount. But maybe just to answer your question a little bit from a public works standpoint, in 2020, between the month of May and November, the Department of Public Works wrote 1,133 courtesy violation notices for high grass. And what that is designed to do is it's a somewhat soft-handed approach to inform our residents of the standards that they need to maintain their property with in Harper Woods. In addition, we wrote 680 courtesy violation notices for folks with rubbish on their property or trash cans that weren't stored properly or left out too long or not put away. And then we've mailed out probably 300 to 400 rat letters. And by that, what I mean is if we get a call of rodents in an area, we'll do a preliminary investigation, and then we'll mail letters to the surrounding homes on how to improve on their good housekeeping practices, like using cans with tight-fitting lids, pick up the dog waste, maybe abstain from feeding the birds and the squirrels, you know, let them go forage for themselves for a while. But you know what? The city is really active, and there's different facets. From the public works, where the boots on the ground, we see this stuff, so we react, and we can do that quickly within the same day or so. And I know that the police department and our building department does the same, but I can't speak to what extent.
Question. I have a question. When you say court, they're violating ordinances, I can't think of the young lady's name there. What kind of violations are you seeing? And if they're bothering you, who are you contacting about them in the city?
Well, I mean, it's like I almost want to step back a second, because I understand, I heard from Mr. Snyder saying that the tickets that was issued up until November. Well, I bought my home in November, so can't speak before then. But from my understanding on the last meeting, DPW doesn't issue any more citations anymore. That's strictly on public safety. And my concern, which brought up my question, was we only have 4 officers per shift. And even in the springtime, is that getting ready to change, where either we're going to have more officers to be able to come out and write citations, or is there somebody else? Because that's why I brought up the meeting about volunteers. Is it somebody we can get in? And to Mr. Toussaint, I know you stay around the corner. Yeah, I spoke with the mayor when I first bought my house because I was ready to put it up for sale. I was disgusted completely with the noise level. I spoke to people on your street over on Danbury who had been listening to this for 2 years. And so, yeah, I have problems. The rats, funny that you bring that up. I just paid my exterminator $150 to try to control it because I have renters who don't clean their outsides. I mean, I'm looking at my videotapes of my ring bell of the mailman having to walk in the street because they wouldn't even shovel the snow. I mean, so yeah, I have been complaining, but at some point I don't want to become a nuisance, but I will become an ex-Harper Woods homeowner. And because these are simple things to me that I don't think it should require a complaint. And that is what brought up my first question really is about, when this ordinance is lifted from the state, from the government, from the federal level, when these people can be evicted because they're going to tear up these homes. Where does that leave the homeowner? So it's kind of a two-part question is what I'm going into. Either I'm going to be known as the nuisance, always complaining about everything, or I can try to speak now so that we can be proactive. Can we get ahead of when these people are getting evicted from these homes? Where will we be? If we don't have anybody that can come out and do the ordinance, we can't expect public safety to do all of that. It's impossible.
Well,
it is virtually impossible.
Well, didn't the chief suggest that you email him about specific complaints? Because I'll get concerned about these on my own block too. And, sometimes you contact the chief, he will find some way of addressing these issues and maybe send someone out to look at it, in advance. And that's where you're being a little proactive at this time. Did you contact him or work with him a little bit on it? Or?
And I praise him to the high heavens. He contacted me before the last meeting even ended. So, yeah, but I'm speaking for the city as a whole. You understand what I'm saying? I don't understand why, and I know looking at the gallery, there's not a lot of people here. So I don't know if they don't care about the city or what have you, but I'm looking at trying to be proactive. I'm one person speaking about something on Hollywood, but looking at the different groups in Facebook and everything, I'm seeing all the comments and I am scared to be almost a homeowner because I don't see any progress. I keep hearing about what we're getting ready to do, but yeah, I'm just looking for more proactive ways to get around this.
I'd like to make a comment too on this. And I just want to say that the work that we do here too is seasonal. And I want to say that there's a season for everything. In the springtime, that is generally when everybody is doing a cleanup, a fix up, a focus is going to be more in that area. Right now, it's snow and ice control. And on top of that, we have something that nobody has ever envisioned, and that's the COVID pandemic. And there's restrictions on what you can do, what you can't do. And I do want to say that whenever a renter or a resident, let's say they throw garbage out or they get a ticket or they don't shovel their walk and we have to send somebody out there to do it for them, we take those tickets and we take those invoices and we throw them on the tax rolls of the landlords. So the landlords ultimately are going to be paying for the services that either they didn't provide for or didn't tell the renters to provide for. But it's kind of like a dog chasing its tail. This is something that we go through, virtually every year. And again, we're coming out of a very unusual year, and our focus is going to be on cleanup and fix up in the springtime. But right now, it's snow and ice control.
Madam Mayor?
Madam Mayor, point of order.
Councilwoman Sawicki had her hand up. And
this is
it's called the audience, and really, It's not time for a back and forth. So save your comments till call the council, please, and then you can respond. So let me get on to the next person from the audience that would like to speak. And I hope, Ms. Smith, that we answer some of your questions, but we also have a way of reaching back out to you so that we can probably be proactive and getting things better involved with our community.
Ms. Courtney has her hand raised.
Okay, who has their hand raised?
Miss Nancy Courtney?
Okay, Ms. Courtney, please.
Yes, I wanted to give you another update. I received a newsletter from the Helm, and I wanted to share some of the information that was in there. Some of this is repetitive from the last time I spoke to you, but the Helm, remember, was formerly called Services for Older Citizens, and it's in Grosse Pointe. And their phone number is 313-882-9600. They also have a website, which is www.helmlife.org. Some of the things they have available for free is one-on-one Medicare counseling. They also have a medical loan closet for items such as walkers and hygiene products. So if something comes up with your health and you need something temporarily, you can contact them. They have evidence-based classes that are free, and those include one that's called Seated Full Body Workout Routine on Tuesday and Thursday, one that's called Creating Confident Caregivers on Tuesdays, and that's help with caring for those who have memory loss, dementia, or Alzheimer's. And thirdly, one that's called Personal Action Toward Health. That one's done virtually on Wednesdays. It's support for persons with chronic health problems. Now, to become a member at the Helm for services that there's a fee, that membership is $48 a year. Currently, instead of the at the Helm lunches, they have lunches for carryout at a cost of $7 for members and $10 for non-members. If you order by 10 o'clock in the morning, you can pick up your lunch for carryout between 11:30 a.m. and 12:15 p.m. They also have some other classes that there is a fee of $6 for members and $8 for non-members. And those are Active Fit, Tai Chi, and Yoga. And you can get more information about those classes and how to register by calling the 313-882-9600. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else would like to speak?
Mr. Hakeem?
Mr. Hakeem?
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to see you all. You're looking real good on the screen there, let me tell you. I just wanted to make a quick comment. I've already had a brief conversation with Councilwoman Pies, and I sent a message to Councilwoman Sawicki regarding the shots on Thursday. My wife and I were fortunate to get both of our shots back in January, but I could be available Thursday if you are aware of any citizens that need a ride to get their shot and a ride home. I just want to clarify or know that there's no liability inconvenience on my part, picking up and dropping off versus just picking up and dropping somebody off. But I could be available on Thursday if anybody on the council knows of anybody that might need a ride, needs a shot, but can't get there. You guys all know how to get a hold of me. And if you don't, check with the person next to you on the screen because they do. Other than that, I don't have anything else to say. Keep up the good work.
All right, thank you. Thank you so very much, Mr. Hakeem. Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Mr. Callis is raising his hand.
Mr. Callis.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council, and Mr. Szymanski, our acting city manager. Hope all are well tonight. The first thing that I would like to do is that I would like to put out a special thanks to our county executive, Mr. Evans, our Wayne County Health Department, our Wayne County Commissioner, Mr. Tim Killeen, the City of Harper Woods, and the Grosse Pointe Harper Woods NAACP branch for them getting together and coordinating a way for our seniors to get vaccinated. It was a wonderful thing to come out. This was a wonderful project put together by a lot of good groups, and I'm very happy that a lot of our seniors will be able to get their shots. I only really have a couple other things for you. First of all, on the ordinances, ordinance enforcement has been an issue in our town for years. We used to have an ordinance enforcement officer. Some on council may recall when I ran for council over 2 years ago, this was one of the things that I had addressed, and I had asked our council numerous times if I could be trained to know what the power is, or whatever you want to call it, and a vehicle with gas. I offered 32 to 40 hours of my own free time to drive around summer or winter. And we're not just talking, snow and grass in the area. I mean, we have ordinances that go back to coloring birds, for crying out loud. So, there's ways that we can do that. It does need it in the city, and we could use the revenue. On the Beaconsfield project, I did have a question or a comment, I guess. When you go from Beacon south to Moross, I remember when the city first did the road there, and everything was great. The construction guys were great. DPW was great. But they decided to take it from 2 lanes down to a single lane, where one side of the street has parking. Now, I don't know what's happening in our area in the past year, but more and more people are starting to use both sides of Beaconsfield to park for long terms. But even if you just had parking on the west side, I believe it is, of the road, then we got the people who, like, I've several times wanted to turn left in my home, and I'll have people barrel around on the extra lane thinking that there's 2 lanes. So I guess my question is are we going back to the 2-lane system, or is it going to remain as it is? And for the residents who normally park in their garages and whatnot, I would assume it will be like last time, where they'll be parking on the side roads and whatnot for the residents in the area. And lastly, I have for you, council, is please, I know we're coming up on April, so please don't forget my DTE and sidewalk issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak in the audience?
I see none at this time, Madam Mayor.
Okay. I noticed that earlier Judge Coleman was on the call. Is she still there?
Yes, she is.
Judge Coleman? Judge Coleman?
Yes.
Hi. Would you like to speak about anything that's going on that you've heard tonight that you could speak on?
No, not really. Mr. Wiley, she pretty much touched on the issue that was there, so I would divert to her.
Tell me also, is there any kind of program that's being run through the courts is not to support or help people that may come under eviction notices or evictions, that may be able to assist them to get other places to live? Or do we have anything like that in place for us?
So right now, what we have unfortunately ran out of the funding from the state where it was providing the legal representation, but we are still advising tenants to seek representation from Lakeside Legal.
Okay.
In addition to that, we did have a meeting with most of the chief judges around Wayne County with some of the different stakeholders in the landlord tenant division. And they're indicating that there is supposed to be some additional funding that will become available through CIRA, which is in conjunction with Lakeside Legal. So we are sending people that way to try to get some eviction diversion assistance.
Okay.
But we are waiting on additional funding to come through.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, call to council. Please raise your hand so that I can acknowledge you. Councilwoman Williams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would just like to say thank you again, same as Mr. Callis, to all the organizations that got together and coordinated the vaccine project that we're doing here in Harper Woods. I took my mother and myself as a teacher to the TCF Center in Detroit. It was a 3-hour long process that particular day. Some days it's better, but that day is 3 hours. So I'm very glad that we have a center here that's going to be able to do it for our residents. So thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and everyone who put that together.
Thank you. Is Councilwoman Pies, did you have your hand up?
Yes, thanks. I did want to say about, excuse me, regarding the COVID vaccinations on Thursday. They'll be at the Wayne County Community College on campus on Bernier at Beaconsfield. People are welcome to call tomorrow to make appointments for Thursday. They can call 313-939-2126 beginning at 10 a.m. until 3. We'll be taking appointments at that time. Also, I had a few questions about our city manager, Raker. Do we have a definite return date for him yet?
The latest date that we have on file is April 23rd, I believe.
April 23rd.
Yes.
Is that when he's expected to come into work that day, or just when he'll be returning?
He'll be returning that day. That's what his orders say, April 23rd.
Okay. I also wonder if he's been in communication with any of our staff members or council members?
Not that I'm aware, not that I'm aware of.
None of our staff members then?
Not me.
Not me.
No, I'm saying, so none of our staff then?
I think that would be a correct assessment.
Right.
Okay. And oh, and regarding the evictions, is that based on Governor Whitmer's executive orders?
You know, they're so complicated.
Right.
I would have to defer that comment to our city attorney. Sharon, are you still out there? I believe you are.
Yes.
You're muted.
Yes, I'm still here. What do you think? I leave, John? I don't
No,
leave.
no.
I stay to the end. I stay to the end.
She always stays.
I have to kick you guys out.
There you go. Exactly. The landlord tenant, there's been court rulings on top of the executive orders, and even the executive order, when it was rescinded per se, it was taken up by the health department, and then again the Supreme Court ruled on that. And so this is there's all kind of intertwined agencies working here that effectively say there's a moratorium on evictions.
It all seems so complicated. I don't know how anyone can keep it straight. One day it's one thing, the next day it's another. But that answered my question, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sure.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, who's speaking?
Mrs. Swicky.
Oh, Councilwoman. Okay.
I also just want to make a real quick comment concerning what our resident Rhonda W was talking about when it came to evictions. She was concerned that when evictions would begin, it would result in a lot of abandoned properties or at least empty properties. One thing to remember is that evictions will take place, if they do, from property that is owned by someone. It's not that the property is going to be abandoned, it's that the current resident is presumably going to be removed from the property for non-payment of their rent. And so I think that the fear that property values will be impacted because renters will be released from a particular home is a little premature, because I think that at least from the few people I have heard in the community who are owners seeking to have a renter removed, they want to rent that property out. The problem is they can't do that because there's a moratorium on getting the current renter out. And I have a great deal of sympathy for people who might not be making ends meet and perhaps cannot afford to continue paying for their rent. However, I think that it's premature to be concerned about it because I think that the owners will go ahead and rent that property again to someone who perhaps will be making the payments that they need to have happen. So I just kind of want to calm down any fears that she might be feeling about anticipated evictions. I think that it's a little premature to feel any anxiety about that unless you are, a person who is not paying your rent. So, thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else from council who would like to speak?
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councilwoman Lyons.
I have quite a few things here. One, just wanted to bring to attention of the public that March is not only Women's History Month, but it is also Reading Month. And so the Harper Woods Public Library will also be doing a lot of different events in honor of women's history and also for Reading Month. And among those things, I will be participating with the library in a book discussion tomorrow at 5:30. On the book, on two books actually, White Fragility and How to Be an Anti-Racist by Dr. Ibram Kendi and Robin DiAngelo wrote White Fragility. And so it's going to be a very robust discussion. And in addition to that, to sort of address the question posed by Rhonda W., I do think that when she brought up a concern about volunteers getting together to help offset some of the responsibility that the officers have in terms of code enforcement. The NEDC, the Neighborhood Economic Development Coalition, they actually do a lot of volunteerism. I feel like that is the essence of the group, is a spirit of volunteerism to try to make the city better. And, perhaps you could get involved. And I do know that the Beautiful Neighborhoods, which is a committee inside of the NEDC, they do a lot of work around community cleanup. And if, in one in particular, I know Reggie Tabron does a lot of different things where he goes around the city. And if people are in need of help with cleanup, I know that the NEDC would be there. And, that's definitely a great resource and an option to kind of offset some of those concerns. And then another concern that I have is, pretty much, I just wanted to follow up really on one, the ordinance committee meetings. Are there any ordinance committee meetings that are on the agenda or, on the docket to be happening in the next month? Because this is in concern with the establishment of a public safety commission.
I want to say that we do have a lot of things going on at the same time. We're working with the committee right now for the public safety director. We're also trying to recruit minority officers right now. We've sent all the council members flyers. What's happening is nobody's coming back and putting in applications. You know, that's very troubling right now. We don't know if people just don't want to be a police officer anymore. It's a very tough environment, you know, that we're in. We certainly have not lost focus of that, but you know, there's a time and a place for everything right now, and we got some big projects. Eastland's a big project coming up, so you know, everything will find its slot, you know, but you know, we don't want to have so many things going at the same time where we can't finish what we've started. So that is kind of where we're at right now with everything. So we're getting the priorities out, and the priorities are to make sure that we have a committee that can pick a police chief from underrepresented minorities, and to recruit underrepresented minorities as police officers. Those are two big things that are going on right now.
Thank you for that. And I do have two other questions still, but I do have just a statement for that search. I know that Grosse Pointe Park has actually a diversity council, and they are also seeking a more diverse pool of applicants for a public safety director. And they've actually had some success in finding 14 applicants. And so possibly we could pick their brains and find out, you know, what's not been a barrier to entry, because if I'm not mistaken, they also have a public safety model. So, you know, I think that we've been saying barrier to entry might be public safety, being cross-trained as police and fire. So, you know, that's just food for thought. And then the second question is about Park Crest Hotel updates. I know that we had this discussion at the beginning of the year and last year, just questions on whether or not, you know, everything is still being enforced, and are they in compliance? How many police runs we've been having there lately? Any updates?
Yeah, we'll give an update. You know, we'll put it together like we did before. I really wouldn't want to make any comments right now that are premature. But I will speak with the chief, and we'll have something by the time the next council meeting comes up.
And my last question. So are there also any updates on the City Charter Revision Commission, and have they been able to meet, and or any progress there, plans?
We are in the process of getting the charter together.
It's all in the works, all in the works.
I have
Okay. Councilman Tucson.
Yes, on the area of the public safety, I put the brochure out, the information. I've sent it on my Facebook. I've sent it to people who are police officers, ex-FBI agents, and whatever that have been in any type of law enforcement. And I thought I had one candidate that was considered part-time and full-time, but he never did contact the chief. So I called him back and I asked him, I said, well, what happened? You said you were kind of interested. But then one of his comments, again, we've known, is that, well, I don't want to be a fireman. And I tried to tell him, I said, well, you know, we don't have a lot of fires here. So, you know, to get there cross-trained, I don't think you're going to be doing a lot of fireman work, you know. And he, but I don't know. I'm not sure what we can do to sweeten this pot up, but we got to.
We're trying here.
We're trying. That is one of the things that keep coming up, Councilman Tucson. That is one of the things.
You know, and something about that fire department.
Yeah.
And one thing is, I'd like to, that the flyer we created, I'd like to change it a little bit, to make it a little bit more. Who would I talk to that about that, changing the flyer a little bit?
The chief, direct the comments to the chief.
Okay.
Okay, is there anyone else would like to make a comment? Seeing none?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Constantino.
Yep, I just wanted to remind everybody about the cybersecurity community workshop that we're having on March 23rd.
Right.
March 23rd. Make sure it's on your calendar. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
virtual meeting. Yep, it's a virtual meeting. And we'll have the information is available or will be available on the city website, the Public Safety Department.
All right. If there's no other further comments, I just have one to make, in the fact that we will be doing the ordinance committee meeting when we talk with everyone to get it together, and it will be by Zoom. So we will be able to have more participations for that, but it will be coming very soon. Also, I want to thank everyone that has assisted me in bringing this COVID vaccine to our community. It has been a project. And right now, I think I have all the volunteers I need, unless there's someone on council that wish to help us out on Thursday or tomorrow from 10 to 3 and taking appointments. So if you're on council and you have some time that you want to assist me with, well, you have my email number or text, you can let me know. Other than that, I just want to thank everyone for a wonderful and enlightening meeting, and I call a motion for adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
Support.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, anybody opposed that wish to stay by themselves here? All right, so motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for your time, and be safe.
Good night.